I think personally, I think they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
A man who she abandoned for months to the media and now presents her mother, Doria, speaking for the first time, telling outright lies about her ex-husband. I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the families.
Tom Bower, the legendary royal author, is sharpening his quill for a new edition of his book set to reveal huge secrets inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage.
Well, you know, Piers, you're the first person to say how limited Prince Harry is, unfortunately, and how his wife trades off her husband's fame and fortune, or not so great fortune now. I mean, this is the problem, but we're still interested because, after all, he's a great character in our modern day.
And so he became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationships, never thinking that they could have something to do with himself. So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. I mean, a needy man met a woman who could help him with his needs.
Very aggressive PR for the Sussexes, got way beyond herself because she really doesn't understand the British royal family or Britain, but understands how to project her clients. And so I think she got it wrong by leaking it or even letting anyone know about it.
And of course, the news today that Harry's memoir is going to be published in the near future will just alarm the royal family here in England about what he's actually going to say to earn his money. But I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly. And I don't think they're finding any more sources of income.
Week we brought to you fresh news that Harry had been staying at the San Vicente bungalows to take a break from his family, despite owning a sprawling Montecito property together with Guesthouse. And this week, those rumours are intensifying.
She's finished. Tom Bower has revealed new claims that could flip everything people think they know about Harry and Meghan's marriage. According to the veteran royal biographer, there is allegedly a clause buried deep inside their prenuptial agreement, page 14, clause 7, and Harry may have signed it without fully understanding what it meant. If that claim is accurate, it explains a lot about what's been happening behind the scenes. It could explain why Meghan quietly rehired Sunshine Sachs in January 2026. It could explain why financial decisions reportedly started shifting as early as 2022. And it could explain why Tom Bower believes Harry may be facing serious personal and financial consequences if this agreement is enforced.
Prince Harry broke down in big boy tears as he gave some testimony today in his lawsuit against the Daily Mail, claiming that they have made his wife's life an absolute misery. Well, Harry, I'm sorry. Why does that have any bearing on this case at all? You're talking about articles that were written between 2001 and 2013, 3 years before you allegedly met your wife. So what does Meghan have anything to do with this trial? Well, as the answer turns out, it has everything to do with Prince Harry's motivation and his miserable existence right now, because his wife is miserable, she's making his life miserable, and everybody's living in absolute misery. And Harry only has himself to blame, because no matter if he wins this trial or not, he's still going to be miserable. I am going to do a deep dive into Meghan Markle's abysmal performance on Netflix. It's really bad, guys. She lost 60+% of her audience between season 1 and 2 of With Love Meghan. That's really, really bad. So definitely something to go over. But obviously, with everything going on with Harry today, I feel like it's a need to talk about his big boy man tears. He's so emotional, guys. His poor wife, she lives in misery in her $16 million mansion with her 4.4 million followers on Instagram, her Netflix deal, her show on Netflix, all these sorts of things. And she's so miserable.
But before diving into what that clause allegedly says, it matters who is making these claims and why people are paying attention. Tom Bower isn't a rumor blogger or a social media loudmouth. He's a former barrister and longtime BBC investigative journalist with decades of experience digging into powerful figures who thought they were untouchable. He previously exposed Robert Maxwell's business dealings, examined Mohammed al-Fayed's operations, and investigated major media and entertainment empires. When Tom Bauer publishes something, it goes through heavy legal review first. His books are backed by publishers who don't move forward unless the research can stand up under pressure. For his book Revenge, Bauer reportedly conducted over 80 interviews with individuals connected to palace operations, Hollywood projects, and legal contracts linked to Meghan. He doesn't rely on random online chatter. He builds cases like a lawyer, with documentation, timelines, and professional testimony. So when he says he's reviewed evidence connected to prenuptial clauses, he's not throwing out guesses. He claims to have spoken with legal professionals familiar with how royal marriage agreements are structured.
The insider revealed Meghan has made it clear that if and when they do split, she would demand a hefty settlement and to keep her royal title. She won't go anywhere unless it's with a title, property, and a huge sack of money. Meghan will make a deal to protect herself. Wow. Tasha is with me now.
Yeah.
This is astonishing, but remember, it comes just weeks after that Vanity Fair bombshell that Meghan is already shopping the post-divorce book to publishers.
According to Bauer, the real issue sits at the intersection of British royal protocol and California family law. And that mix is explosive. That's where things get tricky fast. Most prenups are basic. They list what each person brings in, outline shared assets, and set terms for separation or support. Nothing wild. Royal prenups are a whole different beast. They protect crown assets, control title usage, and include rules about public conduct and media involvement after a split.
I would argue their Hollywood misadventure has been more of a nightmare than anything else. And they've gone from poor decision to bad decision to worse decision every single time. And with the hiring of Sunshine Sachs, I couldn't help but think, and Harry going back to the UK more, or wanting to, can't help but think, if the two of them had a time machine and knowing what they know now, could have gone back to 2016, would they have made some different decisions? I can't help but wonder if the answer there is yes. Now, of course, this is just speculative, and they love their children. I'm sure to a certain extent they love each other, but we have a couple who has had a really unnecessarily difficult existence. And that's not the fault of the media. That is not the fault of his family. That's been their fault. Everything that has happened to them has been broadly their fault. And they can't seem to help recognize that. And so what they're doing, though, as things go sort of off the rail, is that they're regressing to, let's say, an earlier stage in life.
Past royal agreements have even dictated how names and titles can be used post-divorce. But Harry and Meghan's agreement had one extra complication: California law. Under community property rules, income earned during marriage is typically shared. That includes entertainment deals, contracts, and potentially even inheritances received after the wedding date. And that legal collision is exactly why, according to Tom Bauer's claims, everything could now be coming to a head. According to Tom Bauer's sources, the prenup reportedly includes a clause designed to handle this exact legal clash. And this is where things get intense.
Are they insane? What is happening? There is complete and utter chaos going on. The Meg and Harold are taking their rebrands far too literally at this point. Archewell, their charity effort, has not only changed its name from a foundation to Philanthropies, which is even worse branding, I might add. But there is a whole slew of drama going on behind the scenes.
The clause allegedly goes far beyond a simple 50-50 split of Netflix money. Bauer claims it contains detailed language about intellectual property rights, meaning who controls the stories tied to the Sussex brand, their joint ventures, and even creative material connected to Harry's memoir Spare. All of this reportedly falls under a single section of the agreement that, according to Bauer, strongly favors Meghan's position. Why? because she is listed as the business manager for their shared projects. She negotiated the deals, handled the contracts, and under California law, combined with the wording in the prenup, she may hold the primary claim over the revenue streams they built together. But here's the part Bauer calls the most damaging. This clause was allegedly not part of the original 2018 agreement. His sources claim it was added later through a prenuptial amendment, and Harry reportedly signed it without reviewing it closely, trusting his wife fully at the time. Prenup amendments aren't rare. Couples often update them after major life changes like having children, buying property, or launching businesses. The paperwork evolves as the marriage evolves.
Well, Meghan herself.
And Meghan herself.
In the months before she met Harry, was setting up paparazzi pictures in London. She now acts as if the paparazzi are literally the devil incarnate.
She begged the paparazzi to photograph her, and they wouldn't. And when they did, she says, "Oh, I don't want to, I'm hurt." And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
Well, because what do you make of that? Because as you know, Harry was always very insistent.
Bauer's investigation suggests Harry and Meghan amended their prenup in 2020, right when they were leaving royal life, relocating to California, and locking in major entertainment deals. On paper, updating financial agreements during that shift made sense, but the timing is what raises eyebrows. Bauer says he spoke with lawyers involved in Meghan's first divorce from Trevor Engelson. They described her as extremely precise during negotiations, someone who read every line, questioned every clause, and brought in multiple legal experts to review everything. No shortcuts. Those same legal sources told Bauer she learned one key lesson from that first divorce: protect future earning power at all costs. When that marriage ended, she walked away clean because the finances were structured carefully from day one. Now look at the timeline with Harry. The Netflix deal dropped in September 2020. Spotify followed soon after. Their foundation, which also functions as a business entity, was established around the same period. And according to Bauer's sources, the prenup amendment was signed right in the middle of that rollout. California law already allowed shared claims on marital earnings. But the amendment, according to those same sources, allegedly went further, giving Meghan operational control.
So many surprises, by the way, tucked away in your book. Everybody is already buzzing because you reveal that Simon is not a fan of Jennifer Lopez. I was not aware of this. You say he can't stand her. So set the record straight for us, Tom. What's his beef with J-Lo?
Well, he just found her just too vain and too self-interested, which seems like he met his own match. But in the end, Simon doesn't really like many celebrities. I noticed when I went with him to the Oprah Winfrey Show and many other places around Hollywood and elsewhere, he's a rather shy guy. He's always afraid of being associated with people who are bigger than him or who might put him in the shade. But in the end, he's pretty critical of people. He doesn't like Elton John. He doesn't like many of the people who are really famous in the music business. You know, he's critical.
Her name appears first on business filings. She's listed as primary on registrations, and the clause reportedly grants her majority ownership of the brand if the marriage ends. Bauer says former members of Meghan's earlier legal team described this negotiation style as consistent, a pattern that, in their view, has been visible for years. When Meghan divorced Trevor Engelson, Tom Bauer says she made one thing very clear to her lawyers. She wanted a clean exit. No shared assets, no long-term financial ties, no reason to stay connected after the split. The goal was full independence, career protected, income secure, and zero loose ends. According to Bauer, that mindset never changed. He points out that Meghan first hired Sunshine Sachs in 2017, right as her relationship with Harry became serious. And Sunshine Sachs isn't just any PR firm. They specialize in crisis control, especially high-profile breakups.
Has the fairy tale Prince Harry and Meghan Markle embarked on in 2016 become an absolute nightmare for them? Despite marrying in St. George's Chapel in Windsor, it seems like life hasn't been so rosy for the couple. They have gone through endless challenges, the vast majority of which are all self-inflicted. And this weekend, we had some new news that seems to kind of reiterate the idea that Meghan Markle she wants to go back to the past. She wants to relive her glory days because she has hired Sunshine Sachs as her new PR representatives, who were representing her back in 2016. And at the same time, Harry is in the UK fighting for a court case that really has no bearing on any of this, but we have heard endlessly that he wants to reestablish himself.
The firm famously handled Katie Holmes during her split from Tom Cruise and has managed multiple celebrity separations over the years. These are specialists in reputation management when relationships unravel. Then something interesting happened. Shortly after Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal life, Sunshine Sachs was dropped. The public explanation was budget concerns, but Bauer claims sources inside the firm told a different story. According to them, Meghan wanted full control of messaging through Archewell's in-house communications. Now fast forward to January 2026, and Sunshine Sachs is suddenly back. Why now? Bauer says anyone familiar with divorce PR knows the timing. You bring in crisis experts months before legal moves begin. They quietly shape public perception, prepare narratives, and manage sympathy before anything becomes official.
And what would Diana think of Harry attacking William in that way? She'd be appalled by her son's behavior. And that was, again, so nauseating, the way he kept on bringing in Diana. Diana, who appealed to the media all the time, who phoned journalists secretly, who brought Martin Bashir into her office, who cooperated with Andrew Morton, who kept on calling Richard Kay. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, I do think the Sussex overdrive is unbelievable. But, I mean, I don't think that he is going to get back in. I mean, I think that there are two reasons. One is I think that William wouldn't allow it. And secondly, the moment he got back to America, he immediately promoted Disney and his trip to Disney World, which showed that he is very commercially minded, which we'll get into later on, which makes it impossible for him. And of course, Meghan wouldn't come back to Britain.
But Bauer argues the strongest evidence isn't just the PR move, it's the money trail starting in 2022. That's when Meghan launched her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, as a completely separate business entity. Filed under her name only, no shared branding. Bauer also notes trademark filings that don't include Harry, and according to his reporting, she's been seen attending business meetings alone in Los Angeles. To Bauer, this mirrors the same pattern he says appeared before her first divorce. Step 1, build a separate professional identity. Step 2, establish independent income streams. Step 3, make sure nothing financially depends on your spouse. That's why, according to Bauer, the real signal isn't hidden in legal documents. It's in financial behavior since 2022, and that's where the Netflix deal comes back into focus. Media reports said the deal was worth $100 million. But Bauer says industry insiders explained how those contracts really work.
Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem. And I think as of this week, the signal for her great problem is that she turned up at Kevin Costner's.
That figure wasn't guaranteed cash. It was a maximum payout based on full delivery of projects. Some content was released. The documentary series aired. Meghan's cooking project moved forward. But other projects, including the animated series Pearl, were canceled. Several planned productions never happened. According to Bauer's sources, the total payout before the deal was downgraded to a first-look arrangement was closer to $40 million, not $100. And that's where the timeline gets sharp. In 2022, right as projects stalled and expectations fell, Meghan reportedly began filing trademarks for American Riviera Orchard. To Bauer, that timing isn't random. It fits a strategy he says he's seen before. Prepare financially, separate professionally, and stay in control no matter what happens next. According to Tom Bauer, Meghan's solo ventures didn't happen by accident. He claims she hired lawyers to create business entities completely separate from Archewell. And that reported $38 million in debt? Bauer says it wasn't reckless spending. It was strategic financial restructuring.
Breaking right now, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle spent the week using the With Love Meghan promotional campaign to try and suggest that everything is rosy in their very, very rocky marriage. Not so fast, says Radar Online, which has revealed that the Sussex couple are now sleeping in separate beds. Let me take you through this bombshell, then we're going to get reaction from the royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz. Here's the report, though, from Radar Online. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's marriage is said to be under major strain as Backlash has gotten under the Duchess's skin so much that she's sleeping apart from her husband and wondering whether or not she would be more popular on her own, Radar Online can reveal. Amid ongoing rumours about the Sussexes' marriage being on the rocks, insiders told us Markle is cracking under the pressure of public scrutiny as she tries to claw her way back into Hollywood and launch her lifestyle brand, leaving her marriage to Harry hanging by a thread. Insiders told us Markle is starting to unravel and wonder if she would be better off as a solo act. Meghan is said to have even started to look up divorce lawyers. Sources claimed Harry was confronted by his unhappy wife.
Bauer reports that the Montecito home is titled in a way that may offer protection under California homestead laws. He also claims shared investments were gradually shifted into separate accounts. Financial advisors Bauer spoke with, professionals who work with high net worth individuals, allegedly confirmed that these moves align with standard asset protection planning ahead of a potential divorce. The trademarks for American Riviera Orchard were filed under Meghan's name alone, not jointly. Her podcast agreement lists her as a sole proprietor. Even The Bench was structured as an individual project with no shared financial link. According to Bauer, 2022 marked a clear turning point, the moment Meghan shifted from joint ventures to solo control. That's also when she reportedly reduced joint public appearances, unless contractually required. And according to Bauer, that's when the exit strategy moved from planning to execution. Bauer claims the prenuptial amendment provided the legal groundwork for this shift, and his timeline prediction is precise and unsettling. He believes Meghan may file for divorce within 6 months of January 2026. Why that window?
Apparently Prince Harry is already talking to divorce lawyers.
So this is kind of interesting. This is the woman that the papers are citing for this reporting is a longtime royal insider, a socialite. She's been right. I've been following her because she's great TV. She's been right about a lot. And she's claiming she's heard from several sources now that he's hired a lawyer, and it happens to be somebody who's a great divorce lawyer and specializes in divorce. And it dovetails on other reports that he is spending a lot of his time in 2 hotels, one of which is in Montecito, another of which is not too far away, as an escape from her. It's entirely plausible. All they've done for 5 years is complain and moan and see themselves as downtrodden victims. That doesn't tend to spur a lot of feelings of love and happiness and close bonding. I mean, I guess in the crisis mode, it might.
Under California law, a 6-month residency requirement must be met before divorce proceedings can advance. Bauer notes that Meghan has clearly established California residency for years, meaning that requirement would already be satisfied. According to Bauer, once divorce papers are filed, several clauses activate immediately. Title usage restrictions take effect. Asset division begins. And most importantly, the intellectual property clause determines who controls the brand going forward. Bauer claims Harry could face losing the Montecito home through asset division. He may lose majority control of Archewell. Custody arrangements could also become complicated, since the children are California residents, and Meghan is reportedly the primary caregiver. Bauer further claims that under the amended prenup, which he says Harry signed without fully understanding, Harry may lose the right to monetize his royal story beyond what has already been published. Custody, Bauer says, could be the most complex issue of all. If Meghan can demonstrate she has been the primary parent while Harry traveled for court cases and other obligations, California family courts often prioritize continuity and stability for the children. So the question everyone keeps asking is simple. Does Harry know what's coming? And Bauer's answer is the most troubling part. He believes Harry senses something is wrong, but doesn't fully grasp the legal position he may be in.
At that moment last year, she was about to promote her Netflix series and didn't want to, firstly, be seen with Harry, and secondly, didn't want to go somewhere where she'd appear cheap and give it gratis. And this year, she is desperate to be seen.
Yeah.
And that's why she turned up. So I think she has a major problem, financially and professionally. And I think that Harry has a problem because he's lost his charity centre Bailey in Africa. He's better up, and all these commercial deals are declining. I think that his reputation is somewhat toxic, and I think Invictus is his only lifeline, and there'll be problems with that too.
I mean, we've seen people leaving Invictus recently. I think you mentioned the Disney special. Does the Disney special at all?
Bauer points to Harry's courtroom behavior in London as possible evidence. The emotional exchanges, the visible distress, the intense focus on media grievances. To Bauer, it suggests not confidence, but confusion. And if his analysis is correct, Harry may only realize the full impact when it's already too late. Tom Bauer says that kind of behavior isn't coming from a man confident in his marriage. He describes it as someone who knows something is broken, but can't figure out when it cracked or how to fix it. According to sources close to Harry, cited by Bauer, he's been feeling increasingly isolated and overwhelmed. Those same sources told Bauer that Harry's legal team warned him about the financial risk tied to his ongoing court cases. Yet, according to Bauer, Meghan encouraged him to keep going anyway. And that raises a sharp question. Why push lawsuits that could drain millions unless you believe those debts won't land on you? That's where Bauer's final assessment hits hard. He believes the moment divorce papers are filed, the full impact of page 14, clause 7 comes into focus. According to Bauer, Harry may have already signed away his future and is only now starting to sense it. Bauer's conclusion is blunt. He claims the prenup amendment signed in 2020 wasn't about protecting the marriage. It was about preparing for the end of it. Under that interpretation, Meghan could walk away with majority control of the brand, key assets, and primary custody, while Harry is left with limited leverage. So now the real question is yours. Was this all carefully planned from the start, or is Tom Bauer connecting dots that don't actually line up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This debate is far from settled. And if you want to stay ahead of what happens if a divorce filing actually drops, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. This story isn't cooling down. It's just heating up.